Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Boys in the Baltic Star. Look, we're here, and it's such a joy for us to be here. Look, Kelly's just turned up as well. We've got a pair of harumphers in tonight, and what a joy it is. Please keep the harumphing down, the pair of you. I know I've been messing with the microphone settings, Rock Frog. I hope it keeps going. That's why I love to have feedback from you. You and Kelly are both very good, and Spares, when he's around, are both very good at giving sound backgrounds, which is beautiful. Thanks. This is my true self, Rock Frog. Fine, I can be my true self on stream. This is how beautiful I always sound. Oh, Ewan, such a... Don't bring me down. I was in such a good mood then. But good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to tonight's Boys from the Baltic Star. We're a stream that's been here for a couple of years now, which makes us very old in streaming circles and very old in real life too. It is Friday, and when all three of us are here on a Friday, we play Traveller. By my last count, there are three of us here, which means we are playing Traveller, our ongoing science fiction game. And it's a joy to play this game. It's a game that we absolutely love. That's why we keep playing it. And it's a joy to share it with you. A story that we started during lockdown by ourselves. And it's just become something that we've just loved to have you lot along for. And Kelly and Rock Frog are in chat at the moment. It's lovely to have you both here with us. If you are here for the first time as well, thanks so much for joining. I hope you enjoy it. If you don't feel like you have to stay here, that's okay. We're not going to force you. Is that Team Yana? Okay, let's get Yana up. But we'll run for about two and a bit hours tonight. We'll take a little break in the middle, so stay for as long or short as you want. If you like the style, then please stay. If not, then thank you for giving us a go. We appreciate that. Please feel free to lurk. Please feel free to chat. We love our lurkers. We love our chatters. Both are wonderful things. If you want to chat, just ignore us altogether if you want. Chat amongst yourselves or chat to us. If we are not busy, we will join in chat as well. You'll find that at times things that are chatted about become canon in game, which is a wonderful thing. Often stupid things, but we like to be interactive and we love to involve you lot. I'm going to try and get the betting going up tonight if there's times when I'm not busy. It's been a long time since we've done some betting, so it'd be nice to have some bets going for you guys to spend all your dollary dues on. Speaking of dollary dues, click that little red sun at some point if you want, and spend some of your credits, your Imperial credits. If it's sort of a pinky red colour, that'll be a sound. Some things are just for fun and niceness. Some things do interact with the game. So Clonk, if you use a Clonk, you will make someone, and you can choose who, hit someone or something in the game, and we have to do that. Stefan's Sneaky Masterclass, if you select that, he will have to pickpocket or steal something at the first opportunity. You can make us do a minute of wisdom where we have to speak on a topic for a minute. Let's get the old guns out. Hang on, that's where I have to get the guns out. Get my bowling arms in for the summer. So have a just flick through, see what you fancy. Yana's been on here far too long. There we go, even for a double Yana. So please just hang out, enjoy us, and we're glad, Rock Frog, that we've become part of your Friday. Where are they? It's still early in the year, mate. Still early in the year. Yeah, look, it's because I'm too wide for the screen because I'm so buff that it's hard for me to get my arms in. The guns are just double-barreled. Yeah, it's exactly that. Look, can you see? Look, they come. Look, there. Look. Let me just put my arm. Look, there we go. I'm not at all putting my fist behind them to make them bigger. But enough of that. Let's introduce who we are, and then we'll introduce the most important person who will get us going this evening in more ways than one. My name is Luke. I'm in the bottom right-hand corner. Hello. Wearing merch. Merch is good. Merch is king. And I play two characters in this game. I play Kara and Soraya. Kara is an artist, a hacker, a carouser, and she's very, very fortunate this week after an incident last week that could have gone horribly wrong. The other person I play is Soraya. Soraya is like a female Han Solo. She spent her life on the fringes of space. Isn't very good around people necessarily, but she's good at most other things, at least somewhat. But that's enough about me. Let's go up one. Let's go up here. To this beautiful man. Did you time your walk on then? That's perfect.
No, sorry, I didn't. I wasn't getting points redemptions on my mobile, so I thought if I open it up in a PC window, I might get them, and I forget that every time I do that, it plays a walk on.
It's perfect
Sorry.
timing for you. Your little hobbity walk on. It's lovely. This man here, the little hobbity man here, is my brother from another mother. He is the housewife's favourite, week in, week out. He is the Floofmeister General. He is the sexiest man in his road. It is Ewan. Good evening, Ewan. How are you?
Hey, Luke. I'm very good, thanks.
How's life been? Treating you well?
Yeah, it's been all right. It's been a peaceful week. Not a bad week, and it's about to get better because it's Friday and the three of us are here, so we're playing Traveller.
Yes, it's catching on. Good. I'm glad to have you here with us as always. It's always sad when Ewan's not around in the stream and in life in general. Who do you play in this game of ours?
I play Stefan Miller, the sneaky space rogue who will steal something anytime someone redeems Stefan's sneaky masterclass. He's pretty streetwise. His Sarai is I'm gonna say it even if you won't, Luke. His Sarai is bestest bud. Or she's his. Either way, when he's not getting her in trouble and arrested, they're pretty close. They're good friends.
They are pretty close.
And I also exactly. I also play Agnar Arnson, who is the real Floofmaster General, Floofy Varga, and former military general.
He was.
He is the very model of a modern major general, maybe. although actually, I think he's actually got some skills that would have been useful for a general, rather than the skills listed in the song, which is, if I remember correctly, are pretty abstract for their application in general work, whatever the term is.
When you created Agnar, you should have followed the creation from the song and created him to be the very model of a modern major general.
Oh, next time, or if we ever do a one shot with created characters, that's the plan. Although actually, I think it's more of a testament to Traveller Second Edition's good character creation. You can't go through the army, work your way up to general, and get skills in. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head now.
Oh no!
Quadratic equations, calculus. I'm pretty sure was one. I mean, you probably could get that, but you're less likely to, I feel, than you are things that are actually useful for your role.
Speaking of things that are actually useful, let's go to the person at the top of the screen. Let's get past us, because we're going right to the top, literally and figuratively. We're going to the smartest man in this and any room, who lives his entire life in the Twin Peaks dream sequence. He likes to sneak into women's bedrooms late at night, dressed all in black, and leave chocolatey deposits on their drawers. He is, of course, the only GM, referee, overall superstar.
And all because the lady loves milk tray.
It's Ben. Good evening, Ben. How are you?
Good evening. I'm well, thank you. Very well. Very pleased to have a weekend in front of me.
Yes. I prefer having a weekend in front of me to a weekend behind me, it must be said.
Well, yes. And it's a very good opportunity to kick off a weekend with some Traveller, as we often do, in fact.
Well, it's a lovely way to start the weekend. It sets the scene correctly for my ridiculous weekends. I love it very much. I feel, Ben, it's very important to start a weekend with a very positive, happy, joyful, and safe game of Traveller. I'm sure Ewan agrees with me, yes, and that's what we're hoping for tonight. So why don't you lead us through a stress-free, happy and totally successful evening of traveller.
Do you want the reasons why I can't do that alphabetically, broken into categories in order of importance?
Autobiographically.
I have a feeling you have a lot of reasons which might take the rest of the stream. So
Okay, well let's take a look at where we are. Once again, things have taken a turn for the violent on Giikur. All eyes are on the upcoming Pelago race. Perennial foe Anton Fess has been working with the VCI team, and whether it's his influence or not, they're playing a rather dirty game in their race preparations. Agnar is finding it quite a luxurious experience, watching the preparations from a magnificent dirigible and cheering on the ISB team, currently a favourite because it's the team that's been adopted by the crew of the Baltic Star. Kara, meanwhile, is leading a contingent of the crew in trying out for the team. The 6 short preliminaries have been completed, the 2 longer ones still to come, and in general, the Baltic Star people are doing well enough to be in the running for spots in the team. Kara found time to do a little detective work, looking for any signs of Fess. She found him and followed him to a warehouse on the shore. There, he met with a group of people dressed in nondescript, possibly military, clothing. While she couldn't get a sense of why they were meeting, she definitely could see they were up to something. When Fess left, she hid, but seemingly not well enough to avoid being spotted. As the group of unknown people jumped on a small boat and sped out to sea, and Fess made his way back towards the team docks, Kara realised there was someone waiting for her. When it became clear that the potential threat was determined to kill her, she fled after stunning him to slow him down. She managed to get a good distance and even get to a point where there were some witnesses in sight. But as she began to work out how to make her way back to the team, she got a message from Zoe. It seems Zoe had reacted poorly to the suggestion that one of her crew was in mortal danger, possibly overreacted poorly. She had exacted the sort of vengeance that people don't recover from, using a very special carbine that had been purchased for her by the crew of the Baltic Star. Kara looked over the body and discovered no identification at all, and a red patch on his arm, where something possibly identifiable had been recently removed. She made her way back to Zoe via the rough ground behind the cove, and then back to the ISB dock. Meanwhile, Agnar and Olivia Sharp used the sophisticated camera systems on the dirigible to track that boat as it headed away from the island, far into the ocean. When it eventually stopped, it was because a submarine had surfaced to meet it. And that is where we resume the story. Okay, so any takers?
Has this just popped up on the screen?
You and Olivia Sharp are watching this boat moor up next to the submarine.
Agnar will turn to Sharp and he'll say, I mean, that's not normally, this isn't race related. What? I was not expecting that.
I mean, obviously, I know submarines are a thing, but they're not that common.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you want to go around, on the water during race week, it's probably quite a safe way to go. I mean, there must be one on World. How many are there? Do you know how many there are on the planet?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, I know some of them get used for research purposes. I think some of the big fishing fleets have some to go and take water samples and to map the ocean depths to see where a good place to drop a net might be. But truthfully, I always thought those were tiny little things. That looks big.
That looks like one of the ones with the front that opens up to catch loads of fish when they're No, maybe that's not a real thing.
That sounds cool. I don't think I've ever heard of one of those.
Can Agnar attempt to zoom in on the submarine on the screen and see if there's any identifiable marks?
Yes, I don't see why not. You've got a very sophisticated camera system at your disposal. I'm just trying to think what would be the right skill check for that.
Skills he doesn't have.
There
if I
isn't.
remember correctly.
Used
I mean,
original
obviously,
cameras to survey submarine skill.
it's obviously some kind of military tactics.
Yeah,
I
like,
feel that's
like
probably
calculus
not
maybe or
true.
something like that.
I'm prepared to say any of the sort of visual arts or electronics or even computing type things.
That's fair enough. What about recon? Or is that pushing it as it's through the technology?
You know what? Given that recon is spotting potentially military threats and understanding them and analyzing them, I'm going to give you that one. Yes. With if you're using recon, it's going to be education, please.
Can I take that back and have you not say military threats, and I'll just have the minus 3 to the roll, please? No, I'll use recon and did you say education?
Yes, please.
Oh, that's a good roll for Agnar. It's an 8 on the dice plus 3 is an 11.
Okay. If it has any markings, they're not visible from this angle, more or less straight down. But there is enough for you to make out the approximate scale and type of the vessel. It is of the order of 100 meters in length, and it is a fairly traditionally laid out submarine with a separate conning tower mounted in the center of the hull. There's a set of vanes on the hull that are visible at the front. You can't see the propulsion system at the rear. But as a vehicle, it is very dark grey in colour, seemingly unmarked, and by your judge, you would suggest it's fairly swift. It looks very streamlined.
Okay, perfect. He'll take out his device and he'll turn to Sharp and say, "We should definitely get pictures of this, right?" And I'll start clicking away at the screen. I mean, I'm sure you're better at this than I am, but this feels like the kind of thing that we should inform someone of.
Who?
Exactly.
Exactly.
I mean, I can't say that they've done anything wrong, obviously. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe. I tell you who I am going to inform, and he'll take the photo that he's taken off the screen and he'll send it over to the person who's most likely to appreciate a good photo, which is probably not what Ragnar took, and he'll send it over to Kara.
Okay, can you for me roll a visual media check, please, with in your case intellect. It's not part of your core education.
No.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a solid 7. Minus 3 is 4.
Okay. So you sent this picture to Kara?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Kara, you've been sent this abstract piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
It feels representative of either some emotional turmoil or possibly an otter in a snowstorm.
Oh, where's he found this otter? And it doesn't look like it's snowing. I wonder where he is. She'll just send him a message back saying how far over the surface have you gone on that dirigible? to the other pole?
He'll turn to Sharpen and say, "Sorry, please excuse me for a minute," and he'll pick up the phone and call Kara.
Hilly hully.
What do you mean?
What's that?
I'm pretty much. I think I'm pretty much where I am, where I was when we last spoke.
Then what's this a picture of then?
Honestly, it's no surprise that you didn't spend time in the military. That is clearly a submarine.
Is that what it is?
Do you know how boats go on top of the water?
Yeah. I know.
They
I know
float and they'll sit and they've got people on, and yeah. Imagine that, but underneath the water. That's a submarine, and it looks like that mostly.
How what a strange concept. I know exactly what a submarine is. You dingle. Is that what this picture is?
Of course, that's what the picture's of. Listen, the people on the boat in the matching uniforms, they docked with the submarine. In fact, I'm looking. Am I still looking at them on screen, Ben? They're still surfaced.
Yep, they're still surfacing there. They're in the process of folding up their little dinghy.
In fact, I'm looking at them right now.
What on earth's a submarine doing here? That seems a bit strange.
I mean, it looks pretty fast. It could be towing Fess's team around the race, maybe. Anchoring them to the surface of the water and just seems a bit overkill, but
shenanigans. Do you want me to share this with? I could check with the skip to find out if she knows anything of such things, or do you want me to keep it amongst us? You know, because going outside of us as a posse does open it up quite a bit.
I mean, again, it seems a long shot, but if you're pretty positive that they're not, one, working with Fess, two, some other kind of Zidane agent, yeah, that's all I've got. Just those two things. Then it's probably okay, right? I think he's probably taken enough care to ensure that it's not going to leak too far. So as long as we don't go shouting it from the rooftops.
What do you think?
He sort of cringes a little bit because he realizes who he's just said that to.
It's the wrong person.
the one person that would. But she might have a better understanding of it than I do. I couldn't see any marks on it. Pretty much what you've got is what I can see.
Then you must have cataracts.
All right, it's not that bad a photo. I asked Sharp to take some too. I don't know if she's got better ones than me. It's a submarine. It's pretty grey. There's no marks on it. It's about 100 meters in length.
100 meters. That's good to know. Cheers, man.
There's some funny little like rungs along the front. Do you see those little veins on the?
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I mean it's hard to distinguish them.
So I
past the blur.
thought you like got a hair on the lens or something.
No. At first I thought it was, you know, that thing when you take a photo of a screen and you get those lines across it. It lined up sort of like it could be that, but no, they're definitely there in real life.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah. Okay.
Is it
I'll
better
check
if I
it.
draw you a picture and then send you a photo of that?
Yeah. Good
No,
idea.
wait. If I take a photo of it, it's just going to be the same thing anyway. Don't worry.
Why don't you take a picture? Why don't you draw a picture and get Sharp to take a photo of it, and then I'll get an idea, and then I'll show it to the skip. But that is interesting because I'm guessing that's the boat that his crew sped away in, right? Very interesting. It's definitely something up. There's definitely something up.
Yeah, I mean, you tracked that boat all the way there, so you know.
Yes.
You know, it's the same.
In fact, I don't. If he hasn't mentioned that to Cara, he will say, "Yeah. I followed them after they left you, and they just kept heading north. Am I right in thinking it was north?
Mm-hmm.
Ben just kept heading north till they rendezvoused with the submarine.
How far? Knowing the race route, Ben, does the race route go anywhere near there, or is that well off the race route?
Well off the race route, yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, the race route basically goes east from start to finish.
Got you. This, I don't know.
It's a good way to get around. It's a good way to get around the world. They're clearly not there to view the race.
No,
because there is very little of the vessels in contact with the water, let alone underneath the water. And so I'd imagine it'd be a pretty rubbish way to observe the race.
Definitely, that's really worthwhile. Cheers, man. I appreciate that. I'll bring it up to her. He's not searching. She sort of lowers her voice and checks around her. This has nothing to do with Herrenhole, right? He knows nothing of that, does he? Does he?
I mean, it's a good way to get there. I don't think we, unless one of us is, he'll lower his voice like it make a difference. Unless one of us is bugged, or he's got some other information of our activities, it could be a coincidence.
I don't trust him, do I? I couldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. I don't, he could be doing anything. Hard to know. I doubt. I don't know. As the submarine goes, maybe see what direction they're going in. But to be honest, I don't know if they're just rushing straight there, or if they are. This is just where they're organising something from, as like a mobile headquarters.
Yeah. It's probably a good place to lay low if you're if you want to do that on planet.
Definitely. No one's going to look for you there, are they? And if you're trying to build a little mini army of something, where better to hide them than under the water, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but likewise, if you want to drop 4 or 5 people quietly onto a forbidden island, it's probably equally as good for that.
No, for sure.
Too many options.
Well, what's your plan now? Have you got much longer left on the Are you watching the long races this afternoon up there?
I think that's the plan. Sharp's quite keen to take in as much racing as possible, especially when we've only got vague, non-crime related submarine issues to keep his company occupied other than the race.
Well, if you're staying up there, keep that camera nice and tight on things. Have a look at anything suspicious, I guess, especially from his teams.
Yeah.
See if there's anything see if you catch any patterns of anything. I don't know, to the untrained eye of any of us. None of us are like seasoned pelago specialists, are we? But if you see anything suspicious, I'm guessing you're not going to be able to stay trained on the submarine as sort of the dirigible, the dirigible, so follow the races around. But it's good to know, man. I don't know. It's worth really thinking about it.
Yeah, it puts me a little bit on edge. I will say that. Oh, listen, I'll keep an eye on the submarine for as long as I can, but I think I'll lose it when it goes underwater. Sharp's pretty hot on the old pelago racing, so
You say Shark's pretty hot, did you?
I like.
So if the day's going well, then.
Ankle.
Clara cackles to herself. She takes one more look at this confusing picture and then just closes her device down.
And Agna will quickly turn to Sharp and will just say, I was just saying to Kara, she was saying to keep an eye on any suspicious behaviour from, I suppose, either of the two FES teams or the one FES team, and they're very close allies. However, we're no experts on pelago racing, although you would, that's confusing because she's practically on the team now. But I was saying you know exactly what you're talking about. You're very, very hot on the pelago subject, aren't you? So maybe if you could help us out if there's any suspicious looking race tactics or anything odd, I suppose, that occurs. That would be really helpful.
She thinks for a second and she says, I mean, is it possible this is a tactic to take out a rival team? I'm guessing that submarine isn't going to be able to keep up with a pelago boat, but if it's lying in wait, maybe it could knock one down. Maybe it could do two if it goes east of the start to begin with and takes one rival out while the rest of the race does the full circumnavigation. Maybe it could head to the other side of the island and take out one close to the finish.
Yeah. And I suppose with a vessel traveling that fast, if it were to crash, there'd be no remains to examine for what caused much, or the broad strokes of what caused the incident.
Essentially, I guess if you picked your place well enough, then yes, if the boat's keel hit something at 1,000 kilometers an hour, I can't imagine there'd be much left but wreckage.
Agnar suddenly thinks to himself, had we spoken about Heron Howe to Sharp? I don't think we.
I'll look through my notes.
If I remember, it was mentioned back on the liner.
Okay, cool. He'll rest somewhat easy given the conversation that him and Kara just had. I don't think he didn't mention it by name, but he would have been a little bit aware. Yeah, thanks. I won't call her, but I'm just going to message Kara quickly. Obviously, she is on a team, so that's somewhat worrying. And he'll type away a message to Kara explaining Sharp's theory. I'm not sure. It sounds very subtle, but I'm not sure FES is that obvious, if you get my meaning. I'm not entirely sure, unless this is a pelago thing and it's nothing nothing to do with him per se, directly. It's sort of, I don't know, doesn't feel exactly like his style, unless I'm wrong. My gut tells me something different, but I've had a lot of cheesy balls. So. Interesting. And he would have said that to Sharp, but as he was messaging Kara with the Sharp thinks it could possibly be there to take out other teams, maybe even two. Stay alert. And as he's saying it to Sharp, he'll think and he'll drop a message at the end. Does that seem too obvious for Fess? It doesn't quite feel right, but I might be off. Question mark.
Her response will be immediate, of course, because she's sort of killing that time before the next race. And she'll be like, maybe he's after his run-in with Stefan. Maybe he's going for broke? Question mark. But one thing is true. He always has more than one card to play. ... Smiley face, squinty face, little peace sign, shaking fist emoji.
Nagnar message back. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. He it must be important as well, because he didn't break out, but he left hospital rather swiftly to meet with these people. Maybe the team he's working with doesn't know this is happening. Maybe he's the only person who could have met with them. I mean, I assume he's the only person that could have met with them or had something to give or to tell them. Otherwise, he could have just stayed where he was safest, being, till he was back to health.
It's possible that what he's doing is either for the team, but if they can't see anything, they can't take responsibility for it, or it's totally separate, and he's using his role as an into his own plan. Smiley face, winky face, fist shaking face, and accidentally hit the slice of cake emoji by mistake.
After the fourth emoji, Agnar will pick up the phone and he'll call back Carl. Look, can just easy with the emojis, please. This is a lot to take in, and I don't always understand them all. That cat, I have no idea what the cake was about. Have you spoken to the head of his team? What team is he on again?
He's on team
VCI.
VCI.
Have you met the head of the VCI team?
No, I haven't actually. I don't know. I've been bad mouthing them in the media. I don't know if I can. I've been starting horrible rumours. Maybe we've got. We do have a teammate that's not doing anything at the minute, of course, who could always go and have a skivvy around.
All I was thinking is, if you could get a vibe as to whether they were the kind of competitor that would be happy with, what we're talking, 4 to 12 fellow competitors dying so they can win a race. I mean, we don't know that's what it's there for, but it does seem like a strong possibility. Either that or Herrenhal or world domination. None of which I've ruled out. And there's a definite and or between each of those.
He's a classic world domination kind of guy, isn't he?
Well, long game maybe.
Okay. Well, my race is coming up, but it's always lovely speaking to you. Your voice is particularly beautiful. enjoy your afternoon. Send me your luck looking down upon me from above, and I'll speak to you soon.
I will.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah. Cool. Bye.
Were you going to say something, Luke?
No. I just said bye. That's me.
Oh,
Uh,
I thought that was a deep breath. Sorry, that's me.
The deep breath is me trying to work things through in my head as you do your bit.
Okay.
He'll,
So is there more for Agnar to do before he settles in for another drink?
No, I mean, I suppose, given the last little bit segment of conversation, he'll keep an eye on the submarine for as long as it is around, or until the race starts, and then switch over to the race, make casual conversation with Sharp, and have some more nice drinks and fancy bar snacks.
Okay. In that case, can you roll a recon check for me with education, please?
Ooh. That's a 7 plus 3 is a 10.
Okay. You see on the screen over the next few minutes, the people in the little boat have finished collapsing it, folding it up, and it's been carried inside the submarine down a fairly substantial hatch on the top deck. And once they have done with that, they all disappear inside, and the submarine seems to start up its engine. You get the faintest hint of a little bit of white wake behind it as it starts to move off. And once it is moving, you see it begin to turn just as it disappears under the water, as if it's going to be heading west.
So from the docks for the race boats, it headed north and then west.
Yes.
In theory. And the race starts at the docks.
Starts just outside the docks on the edge of the
Yeah.
on the outside of the cove.
But from varying,
and they will head due east, basically.
okay. He'll drop a message to Kara and just say they submerged and went west. That means go underwater.
She sends him about 30 different emojis, all very confusing and unconnected ones. Finishing with the middle finger one.
But of course.
Does she know if that's the route that is going to be taken at all in either of the runs today?
The two runs you have for today are laps of the main island.
Okay.
As a consequence, it's not that far away from the route. However, the craft are going to stay as close to the island as they can in order to minimize the race distance. And so they should be much closer to the island than the submarine was the last time you saw it. But of course, once underwater, it could go wherever it likes.
It's hard to know, yeah, for sure. No, that's good to know.
Kara doesn't know that though.
No.
She doesn't know what a submarine is. She totally does.
She knows what a submarine is. She just doesn't recognise
It's sinking. Oh, the humanity.
All those people on board.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Then we will go back to Kara, I think. Unless Soraya needs some time.
Not on the minute, because there's nothing that she would be doing off her own back, I guess. So I guess it would be Kara.
Okay. Then Kara has just arrived back at the ISB headquarters and dock and hangar and compound. All of that.
Hang on a sec. Just checking something in my notes. Hang on. Okay, how long have I got before the next race? Can't be too much longer.
When you get inside, if you look to the wall on your left, you can actually see the rosters coming up.
Mm.
The next race will be in about an hour.
Mm-hmm.
However, Kara is not listed on it.
Oh, are any of the rest of our posse in it?
Yes. Freya is listed to crew it,
Yep.
and so is Sammy.
Looking at the list of the names, are any of those any other names? Does this look like a strong team, or like some of the weaker guys that were sort of making mistakes, or sort of a bit of a mishmash, from the races that I've seen so far?
I don't think I'll make you roll for that because you've got to know the team a little bit. None of the names appear to be the really weak ones or the really strong ones.
Okay, yep.
It looks as if they are the midfield.
Got you. Kyle will definitely make a note of that. And then she'll rush in, she'll look around to try and find Freya and Sammy for if they're doing anything in particular.
Oh, they're about, yes, chatting about, how to improve their performance in the race.
She'll come up behind them and fling an arm around Sammy's shoulders. Hey, Samster, how's it going?
Good, thank you.
I see that you two are in the next team. How you feeling?
Hopeful.
You're definitely two of the stars from that lineup, I think. I don't know what the plan is, but I think you nail this one. I think you could be finding yourself in the team. She lowers her voice. For tomorrow, maybe.
That would be great fun.
I can't need you there. Don't make me like poison people on the day to get you in. We kind of no pressure. We kind of need you on this. I need you on this trip.
Right, but given that one team was actually poisoned, let's not make jokes about that.
That is very true. That is very true. Maybe I'll leave that to Stefan.
Yeah, is he okay?
Don't know. I haven't heard from him since he ran past me after Fest the other night.
Yeah. That was a bit of a surprise.
Well, these things happen. You've been part of the crew. You know what it's like. Stefan wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for you having his back on that planet that time. So, he hid behind you a lot, and I think finally he stepped out of your shadow and made some decisions.
Yeah, I mean, we're all happy to see him being proactive, I'm sure. If we could make him proactive and a bit less stabby, perhaps.
He's a free spirit, unfortunately. If only I could order him around, but I think that would take away some of his nuance and some of his lovable, roguish nature. But I agree. I just hope that I don't want him languishing here on this planet for the next 20 years. Do you know what I mean? I just hope that when we take off from this place, we'll be taking off with him and not leaving him behind.
I know a number of the crew have very strong feelings about leaving people behind. They don't believe in that.
Quite right too. Anyway, I'm sure you two are totally going to boss it. I believe in you. I believe in you. And but can you just pose that for me? Look really caught up in your research. I'm going to take some pictures of the two of you to big you up as part of our social media push, if that's okay.
Of course.
Really pour over those notes. Really look sexy, but also smart. basically be yourself, Sammy. Be yourself.
Great. We'll do that. And she and Freya sort of sit down next to each other and pose in front of the race boat, staring at their tablets and sort of pointing out something to each other, even though there's really nothing that they can point out to each other for you to take a picture. Can you roll a visual media check for me, please, with education?
Okay. Knowing the rules about the ship, I'm safe taking a picture of the ship at this angle, aren't I? You're not.
Yes.
You're not ginning me with dodgy
From
wishes.
that angle, you're fine.
Okay. Social media with what? Sorry.
With education.
Education. Cool. It's a good roll early on. It's a 10 plus a 2 plus a 2. It's a 14.
A 14. Okay. It is an epic piece of photography work. The boat looks great. The people look good. The people in the background who are sort of working on the boat or just walking through, they all look in perfect harmony. It's fantastic. It's going to be, frankly, it's going to be the cover of their prospectus for next year's race.
Ah, beautiful. Cara immediately sends it to Agnar with a note. This is how you take a photo, and then uploads it onto her social media. It's like just hanging here with the girls at the crew, preparing for this afternoon. You know, and then all the big ups, all the hashtags, all up ISB, all that sort of stuff. You know.
Mm-hmm.
The team of the hashtag, the team of the youth, the hashtag, the team of tomorrow, hashtag, ISB Angels, and all that sort of stuff.
Good.
And then
All right. They start to get ready for their trip, clambering onto the boat and taking their last minute instructions from Cassie, who's giving them all a bit of a pep talk, you know, clapping them on the shoulder and telling them what she wants from them, and that this is going to be a bit more complicated because you're actually going to be now racing a course, and it's a course where you've got to stick as close to the island as you can while obviously also not hitting the rocks or anything. It's riskier, it's going to be harder, and she's going to have to concentrate on the map and therefore rely on the people behind her to keep the craft stable, level, balanced, and the right height out of the water.
Cara nods sagely at all this and just takes in the thinking about it for her. You know, if she gets a spot in the second race, and she allows herself to sort of sit back in the mix as it's the main crew for this race. They were sort of the centre of it all, and she wishes them all luck. And goes over to find, you know, the best screen. You know, the one where the screen where like the mechanics and that will sit to watch it all unfold. You know, that sort of wherever that is in the building. That's where she's going to go to watch everything for the next race.
They mostly go to that sort of office section built into the front wall of the hangar. Yeah. Once they've seen the boat go out, they tend to cluster there because there's tables, chairs, screens, and of course, essentially refreshment machines.
Ah, the most important thing. Cara grabs herself a hot drink and settles in to watch it all unfold.
Okay. You see the boats all head out. It's identical up to the start of the race. They all line up on the same start line, and you see the countdown count. It goes to 0, and then there's this agonizingly long wait almost as long probably as it's allowed to be before the green light flashes and everyone guns their engines. And within moments, you see the field make their hard right turn and head off around the curve of the island. Only this time, instead of turning in a big open water loop, they will do a complete route all the way around the island. It'll take approximately half an hour for the boats to complete this lap, and they will be flat out almost all the way.
Fantastic. How's it? How are teams sort of looking as they're sort of coming up in the sort of the strengths where we would expect it?
Well, in the very first part of it, it looks like Corton is actually doing best.
Oh.
It pulls out in front, leaving VCI just a little way behind them, and then Impact further back than them. But unusually on this occasion, Xander seems to be doing quite well as well.
So it really is a bit of a different mix to what we're used to.
Yeah. Some of these are teams that are definitely not of the most highly rated. And one of the things you start to notice is that the routes that people are taking are quite different. Some, particularly Xander and Impact, are taking really very tight routes to the island. The others are a little bit further out, and you note that both ISB and VCI are following almost the same route, which is a very safe one. They are quite far from the island, and obviously that's costing them a little bit of performance.
As that's going on, Cara grabbed one of the tablets and she'll. Can you see who the team lineups? Do they go up the squad, like each squad lineup for each race?
Yes.
She wants to look and see for especially the two big teams. You know the old our two hated teams, old VCI and DSS.
Mm-hmm.
What are their squads looking like compared to this morning?
It looks as if VCI are trying out a couple of new names, but most of their people, they seem to be now settled on.
Yep.
DSS, if you were guessing, you'd say they were probably doing something not that different to ISB, trying out some of the middle ranked people.
Okay. Nothing that really takes her by surprise or anything like that.
There are different choices made, different tactics, different routes, different squad selections, but there's nothing that looks wrong. No.
Okay. She'll just get back to watching it unfold, I guess.
Okay. As you watch, you see that Xander and Corton are still taking real risks. They are still leading, but not by very much. And given how close they're sailing to the island, you would expect them to have pulled out more of a lead. It looks like GC and DSS are falling well to the back, but they are taking a relatively safe line. What's perhaps more interesting is that Maglo and VCI are definitely keeping up despite taking a very safe line.
Interesting. Cool. Duly noted.
Okay. As the clock ticks over, you see that the 20 minutes or so gone, and now people are definitely in the last stretch, finishing the last sort of hard turn before coming in. And as the race comes into its conclusion, there's only one more hard turn to go. For the final turn, it looks as if VCI finally decides it's worth taking a risk, swings in, cuts the corner tighter, and in doing so, overtakes Corton. They're still behind Xander on the run in towards the finish, with Impact just behind them. Xander holding on, but both Impact and GC seem to be doing okay, and VCI are catching them fast. However, as they cross the line, Xander does hold on from Impact and DSS.
And where were VCI?
VCI finished 7th.
7th. Interesting. Where did we finish?
6th.
Okay, interesting. Okay. So Xander, Impact, and DSS. Very interesting. That's very interesting with DSS as well. Okay. Cara will sort of make some mental notes, drain the rest of her drink, and prepare to sort of filter back in to welcome the crew in.
Okay. The boat starts to come back in, and you can see as the crew heads out to sort of welcome it back and jump on the little tugs to bring it in. There is a general sense of some degree of satisfaction. This this is all right. This is kind of what you were hoping for. A decent showing.
Cool. Cara will sort of grab Sammy and Freya as they sort of get out of the craft. Give them a squidge. Hey, well done, you two. How'd you feel? That wasn't bad, was it? That seemed like a decent result.
It felt okay. Not wild about where we finished.
It looked relatively smooth there. How did you two go on your turns?
I think we were all right. I think we were okay. Here's hoping. I mean, Cassie will let us know, I'm sure, if we've really screwed up.
Nah, it was all right. It was all right. It wasn't 6th. It didn't take the tightest route. You finished ahead of a couple of teams. It's all right. It gives us something to think about, doesn't it? All right.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna try and speak. I'm gonna try and speak with Cassie anyway, and sort of try and catch the vibe, put in some words maybe, the usual. But no, you've done us proud. You're doing the Baltic Star and yourselves proud, the pair of you.
Thanks.
Especially neither of you. It's neither of your speciality, is it? Let's face it. She lowers her voice. Oh, blagging it really. Apart from Kat. So considering that, you're doing amazingly.
Thank you. It's appreciated.
Cool,
and they head off to get themselves a drink and just settle down and calm down after the race.
Cara will try and catch Cassie's mood and and if it seems okay, try and fall into step with her, I guess. If she's in the mood to walk and talk, or lurk a bit if she seems to be very focused on what she's doing.
She's business-like, doesn't look too intense.
Yeah. Cara will attempt to approach her then. Hey, Skip, that looked okay.
Yeah, pleased with that.
It's good. You weren't even. It didn't look like we were taking the most dangerous routes, so finishing in that sort of the midfield seems okay.
I only wanted to take enough tightness on the corner to assess the people. Didn't want to take any risks. We're this close to the start line, you know?
No, for sure. She sort of lowers her voice a bit slightly. She's like, between you and I, as you were going, you didn't notice anything strange on scanners, did you, at any point? Anything like unexpected?
Well, one sec. Okay. She says there was a bit of a rip off the northeast corner. A slight change, I think, in the tide, which has exposed just a little bit more depth as we headed down the east side. On the south edge, it felt like the wind was trying to push us into the rocks a bit, so I had to correct there. That's new from last year. And something weird on the west, like a sandbar or something I didn't expect, and it wasn't that close. It was well to the outside of the route we were taking, but you know, every time you see that and you're doing 1,000 clicks an hour, you think, okay, that's unnerving.
I think I might know what it is, Skip. If
Really?
yeah. So I've got a friend, right? He's a big fuzzy friend of mine. A big fan of the team, big fan of you. He said he's a big. He's really into us right now, and he was one of those lucky ones that has got a ticket on the old dirigible. You know, the good life. He's an ex-general. You know, he's all
Right.
He's all canapes and fine wines and 40-year-old whiskies and those cheesy balls that don't leave any detritus on your fingers. You know, he's that sort of guy.
Oh, the classy cheesy balls.
Yeah. Not like the ones that you and I will chow down on. You know, us here at the coal face, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Well, from his position behind, you know, classic general position of behind the front line, safely back, sipping his drink, looking down on things. He did spot something, and I must admit it ties in with an experience I had earlier.
Oh yeah.
So I left the compound earlier to do some, you know, vlogging, some stuff for the channel, and you know that guy that got stabbed the other night.
Yes. That made all of the news.
Yes, I thought you'd remember, and he was working for VCI, right?
Yeah.
So I saw him outside, and I thought I'd follow him, you know, try and get a piece on him. You know, he's the news, isn't he? So I was trying to get a bit for the channel and this and that. And I ended up following him out to these warehouses. You know, the ones, as if you're going to the, you know, the spaceport up, well, like, you know, the surface port up, but a bit further around from there, that dodgy part of town.
Right.
And I followed him in. I thought I'd get a nice talk. And then I thought, this is a bit weird. So I started following him, as, you know, reporters, etc. would do. And he went into one of these warehouses and he had this strange conversation with these military-looking guys. All like in weird, like, grey suits or something.
Okay.
And when it finished, they all jumped into this this little boat and they shot off. And I lost track of it because I had to kind of... I won't make a big thing about it. I had to run for my life at one point. No, that's not important to this story. But the important thing is these strange military-looking dudes who shot off on their little boat. I messaged my mate about it up in his fancy dirigible, and he put down his little bit of toast with the caviar on, and I think he drained the champagne that he was drinking. And he tuned in the old screen they have up there. I don't know if you know about it. They can like zoom in and out on the race and stuff.
I'm familiar with the concept. Some of the footage they use for the broadcast stream comes from it.
apparently it's very, very good, very, very good footage. And him and his date up there flicked down onto it, and he saw them stop, and he saw them board. I would show the picture you sent, but it makes no sense. It just looks like a squirrel in a snowstorm. But apparently, they boarded a submarine about 100 meters long out to the north, and then when they got on board and that, it swung out to the west, which would probably have fitted where you saw this sandbank. But to me, this seems weird. Why have you got these military-looking guys, mates of this Fest guy, in a submarine, kind of around the island on Heligo race week?
Okay. She gives it a thought, and then she says, I bet they're doing updated like sonar soundings of the ocean floor. They're heading west. They might over the next 24 hours be able to get the very latest data. That could be a real advantage in the last run into the home stretch.
Is this the sort of thing that's fair game when it comes to this sort of research? Can teams do whatever they want as long as it's sort of not illegal?
Technically, there's no rule about anything you want to do to survey the ocean. You know, it's a race. You can buy satellites and ships to come and sample the water. You can pay weather forecasters and oceanographers. You can do whatever you like in order to improve your chance. It's just, well, not every team's got the kind of money to be able to do all of that. Apparently, VCI does. The thing I'm a bit nervous about, though, is if it's heading west. I mean, that sub's not going to be fast, not like we're fast. If it's in the way when we come round the end of the lap, I mean, that could be bad if we hit it.
If you hit it at that speed, a chunk of submarine's gonna be all right. Yeah. If you just clip it with the top, that bottom tip, and they're just below the surface, that's it for the racer, right? That is, and everyone on board.
The racers are designed so that if the keel hits something, it breaks cleanly away.
Mm.
So essentially, if I then do my job right, we gently lose pace as we go across the surface because we've no longer got motive power coming through that keel. And we drift down onto the ocean surface and we hit it. And then it goes hopefully along the surface rather than digs into it. We'd probably hit the water at somewhere between 300 and 400 kilometers per hour, and that's not ideal for entering the water. And then we might tear off the hydrofoil parts, and that wouldn't be great either because that could rip the hull apart. But if you get lucky, you never know, we might all just end up sitting in a stationary boat in the middle of the ocean looking at each other and saying, wow, that was exciting.
That's the best possible outcome. Oh. I don't know, Cassie, what do you think? I'm on this information. Do I leak it? Do I suggest it? Do I keep it to myself for now? Is it a worry? Would teams be worried about it?
I don't know. I mean, how fast do you think a sub like that could go? 50 knots? Maybe 100?
Well, I am a specialist in submarines, of course, and I think between 50 and 100 knots.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if they can supercavitate. If they can, they could go quite a lot quicker than that.
Oh yeah, might be able to supercavitate, but might not be able to. A submarine like that.
Yeah. I mean, if they can do between 50 and 100, they might have time to make it all the way to the Herrenhal exclusion zone before the race comes round. And that could actually work out for them because there's islands close to the edge of that. They could sort of tuck behind and everyone's going to flash past them, but not obviously aim at them. So they could probably find themselves a safe haven if they can make it that far. I'd be more nervous if they're out in open water because you never know what route someone's going to take.
You mentioned this Herrenhal thing. I've sort of been researching it. I've heard it's quite a key part of the race, right? Because of all the islands and the routes you have to take and the special dispensations and all that, right? This is where things could be won or lost, right?
Yes.
Have you finalised the route yet through there? Has this been part of the plan?
Well, between us,
Yep,
I've basically got, at each step of the race, I've got 3 routes in mind.
Mm-hmm.
A really safe but fairly quick route, a slightly riskier but quicker route, and put everything on the line, we need it right now kind of route. I'm going to decide which one to do during the race on the basis of where we are, whether we're ahead or behind, how the crew seems to be faring, whether we seem alert and sharp, and to be fair, whether or not we've got a crew I have a lot of confidence in. Haven't made the final selections yet.
I take it the route that takes you closest to Herrenhal has got to be the everything on the line route, right?
Yeah. Generally speaking, the closer you get to rock, the riskier it is.
So if you're going to want to do that, you've either got to have a team you really believe in, are really pushing for victory, or quite a long way back by this point.
There comes a point where if you're far enough back, the risk doesn't become worth it anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But if you are within reach but not quite there, then yeah.
Well, hopefully we're going to be up there mixing it enough that with a team that you truly trust, that's easy for me to say with these teeth, with a team you truly trust, that you'll feel like you can go for it, and that the team, I'm hoping I'm part of it, won't let you down.
She is in the process of tapping something on her tablet as you've been chatting, and in a matter of just a few seconds after you say that, the team roster comes up for the second and last of the longer preliminaries, and she says, "See you on the boat."
Yeah, good timing, Cal.
The roster includes all 4 of the Baltic Star crew.
Oh, excellent. Oh, good. It looks like Sammy and Freya did all right then.
If you were looking at this, yeah, you've obviously been chatting and noticing the other people. If you were looking at this, you would think this is her giving her absolute picks a run out together just in case something doesn't mesh with them and she needs to make a last minute change. But this is probably the crew she would be planning to go for tomorrow.
Oh, this is important. Kara stifles a grin, and as her heart flutters a bit at the realization, I guess. And she says, "Well, Skip, I suppose I better." She nods at the screen. "I suppose I better go and grab some food and get ready for this. I don't want to let you down."
Good call. 11:30 tonight.
11:30 tonight. Perfect. I do love racing at night. There's something kind of romantic about it.
There's a thing they do. If you haven't seen it before, it's quite neat. They've got a line of fireworks on the finish line, and they go off at exactly midnight. So if we do really, really well, we might just break the finish line before the fireworks. If not, we'll see them in front of us as we approach.
And that is a very cool touch. Well, hopefully they'll be in our rear view mirror as we're celebrating a very good run.
Excellent. Okay. So at that point, we will take our little break.
Perfect. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, everyone. We're going to take
Wonderful.
5 minutes. Grab yourself a toilet break, a snack, a drink, whatever you need to do. Don't go too far. We'll be back with the toast and the second half. We shall see you all in a few. Now, let me find the break bits down here somewhere. Here it is. Right, let's get rid of that. So let's put some music on. That should be some music. Let's put that on. That should be the break. And let's just quieten ourselves off. There we go. Good evening, everyone. This is the point of the evening where I'm back fresh from my toiletting, and I join you for a nice gentle chat while Ben's away. And it's just nice to hang out a bit together, isn't it? Hope you're all well this evening. It's been quite a talky stream this evening, isn't it? It's a bit low on action, high on trying to figure things out, and that's mostly because we're at a bit of a moment in a plot cycle, and I don't know, dear players, if it ever affects you in the same sort of way, but we're just trying to work out what's important, what's noise, what is main plot, as it were, what is side, what things mean, what does this submarine mean? Trying to poke the GM, as it were, for some hints and tips, trying to work things out ourselves, So that's why we do it. And the problem, of course, is that our crew is all split at the minute. Normally we keep them 2 and 2. So maybe Kara and Agnar together, Stefan and Soraya, which is how we started this bit when it all went south a number of weeks ago. But at the minute, they're all very much split up, so it's quite hard to work things together, and we're having to rely on the devices and that. And that's down to us, of course. That's how we organise things, and we're having to think things through. This is new for us in-game. Stefan, of course, is clinging on a mountaintop and has been for a few weeks now, because he decided he was going to tough it out all day and be picked up by someone at midnight, I think, tonight, when the fireworks go off. Someone's going to pick him up and try and get him back to Deep Night in order for him to try and sneak back onto the Baltic Star. So that's going to be very exciting. Thank you, Kelly, you're too kind. So that's going to be a potentially incredibly exciting part of the story. Stefan's attempt to sneak back onto the Baltic Star, a wanted man, you know, an attempted murderer, sneaking back. I know, he's been dangling there for weeks. These poor guns are probably aching. He wedged himself in his hard hat. So Stefan's out. Soraya's out. She was part of that story, and it's all gone a bit quiet on her. And it's just finding a way to get her back into it, I guess, because she wouldn't. Right now, she wouldn't do anything on her own devices. So I just need to buy her own devices. So I just need to work out what Carl would want her to do to get Soraya back in. It's gone to a bit of a two-character story, which is fair enough, you know. But it'd be nice to have everyone involved going forward, and I think there's things you can do. So it's just working out how to do that. And of course, Agnar's got this stuff. Basically, we're having to just get through these races, really. I think, it's an important part of the story because we need to know a lot. There's a lot of important stuff for us, stats-wise and things. And you know, Ben is very good at dropping hints and sort of subtleties into it that we're sort of writing everything down and sort of checking over. And so when we get into the big races tomorrow, when we get through this bit, we've got the Agnar getting back to the ship. We've got the big race. The big race will lead to Kara and her posse trying to get onto Harrenhal to find these carvings. So that's going to be exciting. Agnar, is he going to steal the dirigible? That's a possibility. So that could happen. And then something with Soraya as well. So I know he tried to. It wouldn't have been attempted murder. It'd have been legitimate murder if lousy Agnar, that floofy medic, hadn't decided to save the guy. It'd have been a proper good murdering, a proper stabbing. But oh no, that big floofy medic decided that he was going to save his life. Are you still proud of yourself, Ewan?
When you say proud of yourself, it seems somewhat confusing in the situation in which we find ourselves, to be honest. Agnar's certainly conflicted. Proud of his work. I mean, it was fine medic work. It's not like the kind of medic work you do on a dying bar steward. It's actually part of your crew and make things worse.
Very dare you!
You brought it up.
I killed Grey Hill in a big swerve. I tried my best. She was the only person with anything resembling medic skills. After someone decided to take a bar steward on an assault mission.
That is true. That's true. You did try very hard.
I tried and I killed him. But this is what it is. At least we can remember him. Speaking of which, shall we remember him? We're all back.
Yes. All ready.
Okay, well, let's go to that then. And let's put this up then. And I hand over to our humble, well-trained referee.
Thank you. It is time to raise a glass to a fallen comrade, a steward and barman. Depending on the mood he was in, he described himself as either a bar steward or as someone who passed the bar exam. We knew him as Greyhill Bast. Most of his life he was spent surrounded by parties and celebrants, But sometimes there's a dark side to these sorts of things. I remember, as he told me, of an occasion when he was recruited by the officer corps of a very traditional regiment. They had an upcoming operation that was top secret. So secret they would never share the details with their spouses, partners, children. They'd only share it with their bartender. They had a mission to make a vast landing on an unfriendly shore. They would be storming the beaches under heavy fire. Casualties were expected to be heavy. So they decided to tell their bartender to arrive on that same beach the following day to serve cocktails to the surviving officers and a few of the more civilized NCOs. It's often been said that war is chaos. That's very true. On this occasion, the landings were delayed by a couple of days. When our heroic bartender arrived on the beach in his little boat laden with supplies, he set up exactly as intended. It was, he later related, a little embarrassing how long it took him to realize that his customers were wearing the wrong uniforms. Thankfully, he was an excellent bartender and got the entire senior staff very drunk. Drunk enough that most of them were unable to rouse themselves and find their weapons at dawn the following day, when they really should have been paying a lot of attention. In the eventual action report, along with the description of the battle, there was mention of the stunningly low number of casualties, the large number of prisoners taken without much resistance, and a footnote that the battle was won with the valuable help of the late great Greyhill Bast. To Greyhill.
The late great Greyhill Bast.
To the late great Greyhill Bast.
What a guy. Where's my Greyhill? To Greyhill. There it is. To Greyhill.
Indeed. So, we have a few hours before the final of the preliminary races, scheduled to start at exactly 11:30. Does anyone have a mission to undertake? I mean, Agnar can probably fit in a couple of brunches.
Ben, could we flashback briefly, some weird kind of timey moment to partway through the race that we've just seen, or that Agnar's just seen, I suppose. He'll pick up his device and he will call Quan.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yes. Agnar, good to hear from you. How's it all going?
Yes, rather complicated, I suppose. I've got a request. I've got a question. I need to know something. I'm a little bit out of my depth. And he pauses to laugh for himself. You'll get that in a minute when I explain further. It's very funny.
Okay.
I've back in the day, in my military days, I often I had some Navy friends that would always talk to me about tracking things on world from in orbit. Can you do that on the Baltic Star? If there's a large enough vessel object that we would like tracked.
We have sensors that track things in orbit. We're not really kitted for scout work to do detailed surveys of planet surfaces, but we could point the sensors that way if it was a big enough craft and it was not going too low to the surface. We might get lucky.
Well, when you say low to the surface, I suppose it depends on what you call the surface, really, doesn't it? You see, the reason my depth was funny is I last had eyes on a submarine, and he'll give the general whereabouts or the coordinates if you can get them from the camera. At least this location, it was heading west. I don't have a bearing, I don't think, but if you could keep an eye out for it and post any updates of its location, that would be really helpful.
I can try. Let me think. What can we do? A submarine, so underneath the surface of the ocean.
Yes, certainly.
Huh.
Certainly at this point, it was diving last I saw.
The only thing I can think of that we might get some joy with maybe if we had enough information on the way it was communicating and it was sending a broadcast signal, we might be able to track that.
I'm not sure if it will be, to be honest. It all seems a little bit hush hush. You know what I mean? They might be.
Realistically, we'd probably then need something in the water that could listen for it. And that's not really what the Baltic Star is built for. It's more of a not in water, ideally not even atmosphere kind of craft.
Sure. Well, listen, if you could, if you could just keep an ear out in the general vicinity for any radio comms that seem a little bit suspect to mention, I don't know, odd coordinates, a third coordinate, a depth coordinate, something that would jump out to you guys as a submarine. That'd be great. No worries if not, but I thought it was worth an ask.
The only thing I can think of doing really is if I exclude the areas we know have lots of traffic, the city and things like that, and lots of radio there, I can set the systems potentially to track anything from outside that. We'd need to get the Baltic Star out of her moorings, but we can do that. She's ready to go.
Oh, that's good news.
Put her in orbit, and then it would be intermittent because we'd have to be over the part of the planet which it came from at any given moment. Our standard orbit around Giikur is about 75 minutes.
Yeah, okay. That'd be really useful. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that everything went all right up there. All the tests went well.
Yep, finished all the tests. Everything seems fine. Everything seems good. Going to have to show people the new stuff when they get here, but don't imagine it's that complicated. We don't really have much of a pilot, so it's going to be a bit risky taking the ship out. But I reckon we can probably do it without too much paint being lost.
Well, as long as it's only paint, anything else, it's not risk reward and all that. It's not worth losing anything other than a layer of paint. Listen, speaking of new stuff, if I forward you over, I took a really nice photo of the submarine, so you know what you're looking for in case it does surface. A long grey thing, sort of unidentifiable. I imagine I'm probably looking at it from the similar view you would have, if not somewhat slightly closer. So
sure.
It's a long story. I mean, if I send you that and all the data, could you send me a picture of the toasted sandwich maker, please? I'm sure I know a lady who'd be very interested.
Sure. I'll send you a picture of the toasted sandwich maker. No problem at all.
Thanks. That's not urgent, but
that's fine. It will only take a few seconds.
Oh, it's that quick. Normally,
toasted sandwich maker. Yeah, that won't take very long.
I thought you meant Thought you meant to toast one. Okay. Thanks for the help.
No problem.
Always appreciated.
Do you send him a picture of the submarine?
Yeah, he'll send him the picture and any other data he's able to collect from
Okay.
the cameras. I don't know whether there is any
All right.
backtracking of information.
You send him whatever you were able to get and remember from the screens. They weren't exactly cataloguing details much of use, but you do have some memory of the sort of speed it was going when it went below the surface, because of course they do track things like speed and position and distances quite well for the purposes of the race.
Yeah.
Less than a minute later, you get a picture back saying, "Here's the toasted sandwich maker," and it's the same picture you sent him of the submarine.
Oh, no, it's worse than Agner.
And then a few seconds later, he sends you a different picture, which is indeed of the toasted sandwich maker, with a little note of apology saying, "Sorry, this is the one you're after. When I looked at the two pictures, I was having difficulty telling which one was the toasted sandwich maker, and I took a guess, and it was wrong. When I saw the other one, it was definitely a better picture of the toasted sandwich maker. Sorry."
Yeah, no, that's fine. The sandwich maker looks much shinier and newer. Thank you. And then he'll copy and paste the last emojis that Kara sent and tag those on the end of the message and send them over as well. Because, that's obviously what all the cool people send at the end of the messages.
Of course. Okay. Is there anything else Agnar wants to do before we move on?
You wouldn't forget, but Agnar would not forget. Who was it who insisted on the toasted sandwich maker? Was that Soraya? Kara. He will fire the pitch. He'll fire it over to the group chat. And I'll say, good news, everybody. Toasted sandwiches are a go. Emoji of a loaf of bread, emoji of a peanut and a banana. Good toasted sandwich.
Okay.
And that's it for Agnar.
All right. Okay. Anything from Soraya, or do we go back to Kara for the run into the preliminary?
Oh no, wait.
Oh,
sorry.
No. You're lucky I hadn't fully given myself to the next bit yet, so you're okay.
Going back. I mean, Agnar's got pretty poor memory, but it's almost as bad as mine. Agnar will also send a message to Soraya, and I'll say, not urgent, but if you got a free minute, could you get a vibe on the team leader for VCI? Competitiveness, feel towards the other teams, willingness to commit homicides, in the least industrial espionage to secure a win? Question mark. No emojis. Serious matter.
Soraya responds with a picture of her eating a toasted sandwich and a thumbs up.
Oh, where'd you get that from? Agnar calls over a waiter. One toasted sandwich, please.
Certainly.
I'll have what she's having. Points to the picture.
What would you like in your toasted sandwich?
I didn't realise there'd be choice. It surprised me. Whatever you feel is the special of the house.
Of course, sir.
Toasted sandwich was.
One Giikur special coming up.
Thank you. And then I'm done.
Okay.
Soraya puts the device down, takes a bite out of her cheesy ball toasted sandwich,
No.
rings it up to room service onto Agnar's bill, and gathers her belongings together that she's going to get. She gets herself properly dressed into a jumpsuit with. She's going out and about. She'll put her gear on, put some weaponry, into her small arms, of course, and she's had a rest for a few hours, and she's ready to go out and about, and head down to find out about this VCI guy.
Okay. So where is she going to? Is she going to stay close to the hotel, or is she heading down to the cove?
Before she goes at the hotel, she's going to give Rose. She's going to knock on Rose's door just to see if she's in, and if not, she's going to give her a call.
Okay. All right. Rose answers. In fact, she is in.
Hey, Rose, how you going?
Good, thanks. All excited?
Well, it is what it is. Have you tried one of these? And she's thrust the remainder of the toasted sandwich. I never thought that cheesy balls could be any better, but slightly melted into some bread, honestly, it's like heaven in your mouth.
Rose looks at the sandwich slightly doubtfully and says, "I'm trying to cut down."
Well, you only live once, Rose. You only live once. I've come to you, I guess, if you fancy a trip out this evening.
Sure, where to?
I'm heading down to the Cove. I don't know how much you've been following the racing, if you've been following it at all.
I'm just a few headlines, yeah.
I've been asked to try and get a vibe on the VCI team leader. Of course, this does mean it's a bit nerve-wracking because, of course, that's Festus' team, and I've heard that he's out and about again. But if it's for the good of the team and that, and from the images I've seen, a submarine. Would you say this is a submarine, by the way?
I've seen something like that before. I think it was some kind of garden plant.
That's what I thought. The one that's sort of, but taken from a funny angle, right?
Yeah, like an extreme close-up of just part of it.
That's what I thought, something similar, or like maybe a slug crawling across it or something like that. That's strange.
They have these short-haired muskrats. Maybe it's one of those.
That's a really good call. Agnar swears blind that it's a submarine, right? And he thinks there's some shenanigans going on. And so he's asked if I can go down and scope out VCI. Really don't want to go by myself. And then I'm thinking, who on earth can I think of who would be able to maybe get us in somewhere, be able to say the right thing, be able to, get us through a gate with a smile and a good word, And I thought, I know just the woman for it. So I was wondering if you fancied a trip down and come along while I did a bit of snooping, I guess.
Yeah, I can do that. I don't see why not. I'm going to need a minute to change.
No problem. Take all the time you need. I know that perfection takes time.
It takes her not just a minute. It takes her closer to half an hour before she emerges. She has managed to find from her luggage thanks to a pretty decent roll, a bright yellow top and a short black skirt. So she's dressed effectively in VCI colours.
This is top quality VCI colours. I like it. Brilliant. I'm guessing it's going to be getting busy down there, Rose. It's sort of they're heading to the last big race of the evening. It's heading up to the midnight. Apparently, it's going to be well exciting from what I've read. So I think it's the time. So it's going to be busy, but if we can get down there, find a way in. If you can, yeah, like I say, if you can take charge on that somewhat, then that'd be banging. But anyway, let's go down. Let's have a nice time. If nothing else, right, even if we can't get in, let's go down, have a few drinks, have a fishy sandwich or two, and just have a nice evening.
Yeah, let's do that. It's at about this moment, in fact, that Agnar is being served his smoked bluefish toasted sandwich.
Oh.
Tell me more about the blue fish, Ben.
Bluefish is just a name because of the colour of the scales. It has a sort of light blue tint to the whole animal, but there are a couple of blue stripes running down the flanks of the fish. It's mostly silver in colour, but it does have this tint of blue. It is a local delicacy, particularly when smoked, and served with a sort of creamy sauce. It's not at all unpleasant.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. And he'll turn to Sharp and say, Sorry, I got distracted by the toasted fish salad. This is. Would you like me to order you one? These are really good.
Not for me, thank you. No.
No. But the last race. I don't suppose there was anything out of the ordinary or suspicious in routes taken or. Piloting? Do you pilot Pelago? Okay. Okay, thanks. That's good. Is it pilot with regards to Pelago?
It's seafarer, ideally.
You seafarer Pelago.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Thank you. I don't want to look like too much of a fool. So yeah, tucks into his.
Yes, these are seafarers, but obviously it's a captain in charge.
Yes,
as it should be.
Most of the teams have a captain who's also quite high in the management of the team, and then there are obviously managers who are basically about money or engineering as well.
Yes, the captain's rank when you no longer have to actually captain.
Mm-hmm.
Much like my experience in the military. Tell me, do you whilst we wait, is it Zixa?
Oh yes.
Would you care for a game?
I would love a game. We have a couple of hours to kill.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. And he'll settle in, finish off his sandwich, and play as many games of Zixa as possible.
Okay.
Given the time limit or Sharp's persuasion.
There isn't a specialist Zixa skill. However, under the circumstances...
Oh, you're not going to make me roll.
Oh, I am.
Winning battles without rolling for it.
Well, I was just going to fade away.
Yes, it's going to be tactics, military tactics, plus intellect, please.
Not dexterity for moving the pieces around.
There really isn't that much of a challenge in the movement of the pieces.
No, that's fair. That's a good roll. That's 11 plus 0 for intellect, but plus 3 for military tactics.
Oh, a 14.
Mm.
Okay.
Pays to warm your dice up.
And can you do that one for me again, please? We'll just do 2 of them.
Hey, you win some, you lose some. That's a 3 plus 3.
6 total.
Yes.
The first game you play, you win very comprehensively. The second one is really tight to the wire, but eventually Sharp does finally win. But it's a close run thing.
Wonderful. He'll
Okay.
be very gracious in his games.
So we will head back down to Soraya as she and Rose make their way along to the shuttle pickup point for the trip down to the cove.
Is anyone clocking Soraya as she's sort of been on the news over the last couple of days, I guess?
Can you roll a streetwise for me with intellect, please?
Yes. Okay.
God, I'd forgotten about that.
Oh, no, it's so long ago.
Very good point, though.
No.
Giikur will never forget.
Giikur never forgets. 7 plus 2 is 9.
Okay. It's a fairly busy evening. People milling about and enjoying the pleasant atmosphere on top of the city. And it gets busier the closer you get to the edge of the cliff, where the sort of temporary seating and the screens are set up, as well as the little shuttle port they have there. There are people milling about looking in all sorts of directions, and some of them are definitely checking out Soraya and Rose, but not in a way that you think is particularly suspicious, or if so, you don't notice it.
Cool. I'm guessing there's going to be all sorts of hawkers of Team Tat around.
There are, yes.
Soraya's going to find one that clearly has some yellow and black colours shuffled into there, if that's okay.
You can, in fact, actually find merch stalls selling outfits in the various team colours. So you can actually find a VCI hat, shirt, whatever you want.
Hello, my good man, woman.
Hello. What can I help you with?
It's just possible you could just save my life. I've come out this evening and I've left my VCI hat and scarf in my room, and you know what it's like. You want to wear your colours, don't you? So I was wondering if I could pick up a hat for me and a hat for my friend. You know, she doesn't need a scarf; she's too beautiful to cover her face. But a couple of hats and like a scarf would be amazing, please.
2 hats and a scarf.
Yeah,
no
please.
trouble at all. He picks up a couple of hats which are covered with, they're in VCI colours, but also the VCI logo on the front.
Yeah.
And a scarf which is in VCI colours, but the actual wording relates to this year's Pelago race.
Nice. How much do I owe you, my good man, woman?
30, please.
30. Well, a bargain at half the price. Take 33.
Oh, thank you.
Well, it's easier for my money. Good. Have a good evening. I hope you sell well, and I hope that if there's a team you support, they do well.
Why, thank you very much.
Sarah pulls the hat on and sort of pulls it down a bit lower, just to cover herself up a bit, and puts the scarf and wraps it around to sort of cover up the bottom half of her face, around the mouth and chin, just
Gotcha.
so she doesn't look suspicious. She just looks like a fan, but it's not so obvious in her being. Hands the other hat to Rose and says, "Don't feel like you need to wear it now, but I don't know if it's useful when we get closer."
Rose immediately puts it on and settles it down carefully over her hair and says, "Look all right?
You look very spiffy.
Excellent. So, time to head down, I guess."
Let's head down. Let's get this done quickly. It's upsetting me having to wear this VCI stuff. That feels very traitorous.
You have a short wait before you can find space on one of the shuttles, but as you can imagine, the busier it gets, the more shuttles they run. So it isn't very long, just a few minutes, before you are ensconced in a shuttle for the very short trip down to the cove. You land on that sort of eastern edge of the extent of it, where the public shuttles land and take off. And it's a fast turnaround. I mean, the shuttles are queuing up to drop people off and pick them up. So as soon as one's moved, there's another one occupying that space. It's getting busy, really busy down there. And it was busy up top as well. So as you spill off, you see people in all sorts of different team colours, but also, of course, people aren't wearing team colours at all. And you can set off around the cove if you wish.
Sarai will grab back at Rose's hand and sort of stay close. It's busy out here. Don't want to lose each other. And sets off towards the paddock area, I guess, in a casual manner. Like enjoying the sights and sounds and the vibe of this place, the excitement. It's nice to be around happy, excited people.
Yeah,
in a Mardi Gras-like atmosphere,
and they are enjoying it. There's a lot of street food there. There's a lot of excitement, lots of laughing, and people are drinking and having a very good time. As you make your way onto the main part of the cove, the first of the dock areas is Xander's, and then the third one along is VCI.
Okay. So, Rose, this is. I really need to find a way in, and I'm guessing it's going to be tough. They're not going to let just anyone in, but I really need to catch a bit of a bead on the VCI leader guy. I don't know. Is there any way you could get us in? Like, mate. There must be a way that they must invite the people, the Uber fans, the ones they particularly want in, the ones that will look good for them to have in. It's partly why I brought you down. You're the most, you're the one that most people want in their base at this time of night.
I can try and flash a smile and see what I can do, but it's going to be hard, I would guess, this close to the race.
The only other thing, how long have we got before the final race starts, Ben?
About an hour and a half, there or thereabouts.
Sarah pauses and says, I wonder. And she gives Cara a call.
Okay.
I've got to talk to myself now. Hey,
This is going to be weird.
Hey, it's Cara. How you doing? Hey, Cara. How you doing? It's Soraya. Me and Rose are down here. Oh, you're down. Fantastic. Yeah, we're just outside VCI. We're looking at getting in, but Rose reckons it could be quite tricky to get in. Do you reckon there's any way you could get us on a list or something? Not that kind of list, like a positive list. To get allowed in or something. Is there anything, any sort of wizardry you could do? Well, I don't know. I'll have a look and see if I could. I'll get back to you when I've had a look. All right. Yeah, okay. That's cheers. Thanks, Rose and I. We're just going to grab a bit of street food and hang out for a bit, have a drink or something. Let me know when you've done it. We're short on time though. Okay, that's fine. I've got a bit of time. I'm limited though. If I can't get it done in 40 minutes, that's it. I've got to focus on the race. You understand that? Yeah, I understand that. That's fine. Okay. Cool. They hang up, and what I'd like to do, Ben,
Mhm.
is Kara's going to need to try and hack in at some point to VCI, because I think you've said before about different people can get to different parts in the paddock
Mhm.
with different clearances or
Yep.
allowances and that. She'd like to try and hack in and get Rose and Soraya at least some kind of clearance, even if it's just like as a VIP. She'll hack in and see what, if she can, hack in and see what options there are, I guess. But even if it's like a VIP guest, a sponsor, someone that's just been allowed in for that evening. It's not the big
Okay.
race day, so I feel like they might let someone in potentially.
All right. In that case, can you roll for me an electronics computing check, please?
Yep.
You can have your bonus +1 for this, since you're doing an intrusion.
Yes. So electronics. What was it? Electronics.
Electronics computing
Yep. With my +1.
with your
Yep.
+1 and your skill and your intellect bonus and your skill bonus. Yeah.
+4. So we'll see how it is. That is another 7 plus a 4 is 11.
11. Okay. Roll 1d6 for me, please.
Oh god. 2.
Okay. It takes you the best part of half an hour. So we're down to about an hour or so before the actual race starts. You can't get them onto a list for what you'd really like to, like right into the heart of it. But you do get them on a paddock pass, which will let them into the outer part of the compound. And you can see that out there are people doing like a grid walk, meeting some of the team, chatting with various members of the team before the race. Some of them are journalists, some of them are just fans, some of them are experts in various things who are milling about, and some are no doubt sponsors and their families.
Seems good. Kara just messages back. She doesn't feel the need to have a conversation. She'll say, I've got the 2 of you paddock passes. And then she closes up the computer, and with that hour to go, she sort of shuts it all down, goes to grab herself a bite to eat and prepare herself for the race,
Okay. With that in mind, the paddock passes will work as soon as you get to that outer gate.
Hey Rose, Kara's got us paddock passes. We're going to get to wander around, have a grid walk, chat with some team members. Maybe a vol au vent or
Excellent.
2, bit of schmoozing.
Let's go and see what we can see.
Cool. Soraya heads over to the gate. Multipass, paddock pass.
Nice.
I believe our name should be on your list. Good, Tim.
The person, goes down the list and says, "Oh yes, I have you here. Welcome," and pulls open the gate. Can you roll for me? I know this is going to sound like a weird one,
right?
but can you roll a
Survival.
stealth with intellect for me, please?
It doesn't sound strange at all, Ben. To be honest, unfortunately. Oh no! It's a 6 + 1 is 7.
Okay. As you enter, someone does sort of walk across and look at you and notice Soraya, and strides across. He's one of their sort of security people, And he walks across and says, "I recognize you. What are you doing here?"
Um, we have paddock passes. We're VCI fans. We're just coming to, we're not allowed in the building or anything, are we? We're just here to sort of watch things out, get some free food, and just enjoy the vibe before the race.
I'm amazed to see you here. And he's asked to see your credentials.
Sarai will show them. He knows, he's obviously recognised her. She'll say, I was released with no ifs or buts. I was found totally innocent as I was. It was just a case of being an unfortunate person in the wrong place at the wrong time. And
can you roll a persuade with intellect for me, please?
Yes. Hopefully better than last
Cara
one.
does have a boon if she wants to use it here.
Although I'm with Sarai, aren't I? Unfortunately.
Oh, of course, yes, it's Sarai. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I wish. Cara would just waste her boon on pouring a nice hot drink at the minute.
No, Cara may well need it for the race.
Yeah, that might be really good. It's an 8 plus 2 is a 10.
Okay. The guy seems to relax completely. He says, "Of course, I'm sorry. I apologize. Who are you here to see?"
I should say it's okay. It's okay. It's been a very difficult couple of days, and we're just coming to. I'm happy to be out. Happy to be here. Spend some time. We're just here to see everyone. Really, just get the vibe. Like, ideally, I don't know who's doing the grid walks right now, but the team, if the team leader, if the sort of the captain's here, that would be spectacular. But I know that he's probably a busy man. Or is it a man or a lady?
Yes, it's a man.
Yeah. I'm sure he might be busy, but anyone really, just to get a vibe of it. It's very exciting. And being on Giikur, I'm glad that I've been able to catch it because it's sort of the main reason to be here. I'm such a fan of like motorsports and such. Like whoever's available, we were just going to wander up and down, but captain ideally, but whoever. What a treat to be here.
I can only apologise for my earlier indiscretion. You know what?
No.
I
You're
will.
doing your job. You're doing your job, sir.
I will introduce you to him. Follow me, please.
Incredible. Thank you. It's ever so kind.
And he does indeed walk you across, and there's a chap there. He looks, resplendent, no less, in his team uniform.
Yeah.
And the guy walks up and says, Mr. Kenyon, a couple of people who would like to meet you.
What's his name, sir?
Helic Canyon. Helik.
Helik, yeah.
And then canyon like a crevasse,
Yeah. So Sarai nudges Rose as they've been introduced. It's Helic Canyon, the captain.
And he looks across with a big smile. I need you to roll for me, just as you're sort of introduced, I think you can be your choice of persuade or deception.
Mm-hmm.
Rose is going to go with deception, with intellect or social, whichever you prefer.
Not social. That's 100%. Intellect, persuade, or what was the other one?
You can have persuade or persuade or deception. Your choice.
Persuade and intellect then. Persuade and intellect. We'll see how much, because that's a 6, but it's plus 2 is 8.
Okay. He gives you a little smile and says, "Nice to meet you." But it seems pleasant but perfunctory, like he's met 100 people today. But when he glances at Rose, she gives him a very warm smile and sort of leans in just a little bit and sort of puts her hand gently on his arm and says what a delight it is to meet him. And his eyes absolutely light up at seeing Rose.
Sorrel smiles and say, I'm here with my friend Rose. Rose was very excited to come. It's her first time. I've been a fan of Pelago racing for a long time, but it's Rose's first time here, and I said that I said it'd be worth coming. I said that she might be able to meet an important member of the team, and it appears that she's met the most important. Isn't that right, Rose?
It's a thrill for me, an absolute thrill. It's so exciting. The speed you do. How do you know how to steer the craft? And he, tries to be all humble about it. Well, it's just practice, really. You get used to it.
You see, I told you. What do you think as well, Rose? He's I say he's even more attractive in real life than in the pictures we've seen, wouldn't you say?
I'm just a little starstruck.
He is the best out there. They're favourites for tomorrow, Rose. This is the guy. His face is going to be everywhere tomorrow night.
Well, yes, I mean, and hopefully for the foreseeable future. I mean, if you win a race in one of these craft, if you win the whole thing, I mean, you're a legend forever, aren't you?
It's true. He's already a legend already, but this is. She turns to Helic, totally accepting the fact that she might not be his main point of attention right now. Let's say, are you feeling confident about your chances tomorrow, Mr. Canyon?
Oh, we don't necessarily know what's going to happen. It's a dangerous race. It's a long race. All sorts of things can happen, but I think we've put in the work and the preparation. And please, and he turns to stare directly at Rose, call me Helic.
Do you have Helic? Do you have a few minutes of your time, or do you need to rush on to the next person? It'd be lovely just to spend a few minutes, just a few minutes chatting, maybe a photo or two, if that's okay.
I can spare a few minutes, yes.
Thank you. Can we not that if I want to talk privately, I don't mean talking privately, but can we chat with you not necessarily so close to other people, It'd be nice to get a photo without people in the background, as it were.
Of course. And he strides off to where there's a nice big ISB logo on the side of the building. It's out of the main route because it's not close to the line between the gate in the paddock and the doors into the building. So it's a bit quieter there, and he does indeed stand there and say, and you see, you can have the logo for the back of your shot.
Fantastic. As they're sort of heading over, Sarah would like to sort of pull Rose aside somewhat and say, look, he clearly likes you. Can you play the innocent and try and get a vibe on his confidence, try and get him to slip anything at all? I'll find a reason to go and get us some drinks or something and give you a few minutes alone with him.
Okay. She gives a little nod and a little squeeze of your hand. And when as they arrive at the thing, you sort of beetle off to one of the various places around the paddock where they do have, water and things like that standing by, while you can see Rose, again, brush his arm and smile and sort of chat quite amicably to him. You're out of earshot. You can't hear what they're saying. But by the time you get back, Rose is saying, well, that sounds really encouraging. That sounds brilliant. And she turns to you and says, yeah, well, dear Helic was just telling me that they've had the best of the possible run-ins in the route through the preliminaries. They've never had a run-in this good in the setup. That he's very excited about it. And I mean, obviously we were watching the results come in and they look pretty good to us, but we're not experts the way he is. And he's, you know, clearly quite taken with her and enjoying the fact that she's so excited for him.
Sort of Sarai hands out a couple of drinks or whatever, and she says, Mr. Helic, do you mind if I take some photos of you and Rose, and maybe just a quick one of you and I, and then maybe get someone to take a picture of all three of us? It's a delight to have this time with you.
Of course, he says, and immediately squeezes himself as close to Rose as possible for the purposes of the picture.
As sort of Sarai sort of starts taking photos and Rose is squeezing in and that. So you I hear, Mr. Helic, that it's not really surprising, I guess, you have got you have hired a man with great local knowledge for the route. Is he even surpassing himself in that, I guess? You must have expected quite good results. But Rose was saying, she sort of smiles at Rose, that perhaps even better than expected.
Rose catches your drift and says, oh, yes, the expert. Do tell us about the expert. I'll try Rose's persuade. That's not bad. Helic smiles and says, ah, yes. Yes, a good purchase that. He came over from a different team last year. And, his insights are tremendous. We've been practicing with his information in the preliminaries, but for the most part, you don't really get the benefit until we're out on the big race. But the detail he's able to provide it's astonishing. He's been very helpful.
Oh, that is great. Every little helps, I guess. With your know-how of the ship and his know-how of routes and such like, you're going to be unbeatable tomorrow. And she sort of takes an extra picture. Says, can you squeeze in a bit? I want to get you both in with the sign behind.
He's enthusiastic about the squeezing in a bit, yes. And you get a very, very pally-looking photo.
Oh, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. Is your specialist going to be on the ship tomorrow, Miss Helic, between you and I? Oh, no, Rose, a bit closer, please. How about, you don't mind if she kisses you on the cheek, do you, Mr. Helic? It'll be a nice photo for her, I guess, to have this opportunity.
Not at all. Can you roll a persuade for me, please, with intellect, and you can have a boon for that. You've got Rose helping you.
Yes, I certainly do. Persuade, intellect, and the boon. Oh, bossed it then. Got rid of a 2. That's nice. And I've got a 13.
Okay. He says, no, we're not expecting to have him on the boat. Most of the information he's already supplied, but he'll be available during much of the race to provide updates, of course.
From here? From headquarters? Wow.
I think he has a flying craft that he can use to survey ahead of the race. I'm not certain.
Fantastic. Well, I'm really glad that it's going so well for you. How about one more? Rose, do you want one of him kissing your cheek?
Yes, please. That would be lovely. She She smiles at you, but since he's now turning to face her cheek, she can shoot you a little bit of a glare. And indeed, you can get a picture of that as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. It does sound all very positive. It does sound like you've really, as much as you knew what you were getting with this guy, it does sound like he's almost surpassed your hopes and dreams.
It's great to be in a team with that kind of money.
I guess money gets it. Money gets what you need. Sarai sort of like checking her watch as if you know how much time they've got. They don't want to hold him up for too long or so on.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, she says, how are you feeling about DSS? My boyfriend is a big fan of DSS, and they seem to be really struggling at the minute. I guess I'm guessing you'd suggest that I shouldn't be putting any money on them. Of course, I was going to put money on you anyway, but you must be suggesting that he shouldn't be putting any money on DSS tomorrow.
He laughs a little. There's a little chuckle. And he says, well, let's just put it this way. I'm not worried about DSS on the race.
Yeah, I thought not. They looked like they were struggling all the way along. I'm sorry, Mr. Canyon. There's not enough time for the photo with me. I hope the photo with Rose will have to suffice.
He doesn't look that disappointed.
No, I guess not. But thank you so much for your time. She reaches in for a handshake. All the best for tonight. All the best for tomorrow. And if there is any chance, it'd be lovely if you could, if there's any chance tomorrow, maybe that, is there any chance you could get Rose and myself back on the guest list for tomorrow? Just into the paddock or something?
I don't see why not. That would be lovely. Yes, I'd love to see you both again.
Well, until tomorrow, Mr. Canyon, Mr. Hellick, sorry. Please, we've had far too much of your time already. You must be a busy man.
Don't mention it. It was lovely to meet you both. Very much staring at Rose again. Okay. And he strides off and is almost immediately intercepted by somebody else who wants a minute of his time. There's still, an hour or so, just under an hour to go before the main race. The evenings, the final preliminary of the setup before tomorrow's real race. And as he wanders off, and Rose and Soraya can exchange some meaningful looks, that's where we'll call it for tonight.
Lovely.
Thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you,
Ben. Thank you.
That's wonderful, wonderful story progression. I like it.
Yes, more questions than answers. More questions than answers.
It feels like there's been a few of those back to back, but that's surely a good sign that we're on the right track.
Exactly. We're forcing our way onto the right track.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, excellent. Right, yeah, well done, everyone. I think that was enormous fun, and very much looking forward to next week when we press on.
Go Traveller.
Yeah.
Because
no
with
Traveller.
Luke next week.
No Traveller next week.
No Traveller next week. Next Friday we have. Well, actually, let's do tomorrow first.
Yes.
So tomorrow we're doing Troika.
Troika.
We are
Should be
indeed.
enormous fun. Troika is mad. absolutely mad, but I love it. It's enormously joyous. So we'll be doing that.
It promises to be what's the opposite of herding cats, like where the cats are herding you, but in a non-cat-like way. Who knows what will happen? We'll get somewhere. Something will happen. They've got choices.
Yeah, excellent.
Ben's character seems to know what's going on. Mine just got confused. The last one. I think it's still upset after killing everyone's beloved ghost.
Excellent.
Indeed.
So yes, we'll do that, and then on next Friday we're planning to do a Finding Fantasy game book, aren't we, Ewan?
We are indeed. I've got good feelings about this one, Ben.
I'm optimistic.
It's going to go well.
It's
I'm
called
optimistic.
It's called Trial of Champions, and frankly, we are champions, so obviously it's right in our hitting zone.
Exactly, and it's my birthday next Friday. So what greater a present than us successfully completing a fighting fantasy book could the universe give me?
I give you 45 minutes before you die.
It's probably more than we deserve.
I think if we make it through the prologue, we're doing better than average.
Yeah, sure. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to work brilliantly. So thank you everybody for joining us this evening or catching up on VOD. We greatly appreciate it, and we're very pleased to see you every time. Thank you. Guys, thank you for tonight. That was enormous fun.
Thank you.
Always is. Thank you.
And I will see you two reprobates back here tomorrow night for some Troika.
Troika. Sleep well, everyone. Love you all.
Cheers.
Good night.